who is a celebrity you used to admire, but no longer do, and why? So, I thought 90% of what Connor has said in the past has been clickbait hype-building bullshit to gain him more money in his fights, which honestly, it's pretty damn smart. However, I'm really starting to think he's just a fucking dickhead. The way he acted after his last fight was embarrassing. The father comments were way out of line, and basically everything he has done in the past year to 6 months has been just trash. I'm really just over him, and by the looks of it so is the sport. He was never a good guy. It was all an act. He and his business partner Joe Bastianic stole their workers' tips. The workers had to file suit against them to get the money back. That suit settled for $5.25 million. And in 2017 former employees brought forth another suit against Bately and Bastianic for stealing tips and wages. That suit was settled July 2021. This suit settled for $600,000. Suit number 1 https://www.npr.org/section/thesalt/2012/03/143/celebrity chef Mario Bately settles lawsuit with his waitstaff. Suit number 2 https://finance.yahoo.com/news/Mario Bately business partner pay 180013837.html. Kinda not much of a celebrity, but this guy Ryan Haywood from the YouTube channel Achievement Hunter was like my favorite member growing up. He was funny, put on a villain persona a lot, and seemed like a good father. Turns out he was a pedophile who used his fame to convince young fans to sleep with him. Bastard even used his money from his Twitch channel to pay for flights for them and hotel rooms when he told everyone all the money from his Twitch was going to his kids' college funds. I remember when that came out, it was like a slow-motion train wreck. Everyone initially thought maybe the photos were faked, or were real but had been hacked. Then the first victim came forward and a lot of people tried to defend it as it was some adult fan. And while an affair is immoral, it happens, and while the whole groupie thing is questionable, it's not exactly new for fandoms etc. But then more details came out and the trickle of victims became a tsunami of evidence of sick perverted actions of that monster. Even more messed up, he tried to making a fucking comeback on Twitch and actually tried to manipulate some of these victims again. I was able to take the revelations about Ryan on the chin at first, but man, I'm definitely jaded, but the #Me Too era has kinda left me in a state of passive anticipation when it comes to male celebs. It was seeing and thinking about the reactions from the rest of the team that ended up really getting to me. Aside from the fact his disgusting, selfish actions genuinely put their livelihoods and everything they worked for at risk. I can't imagine the pain and anger you would feel discovering someone you thought was a long-time trusted friend and colleague was an abusive creep who had used the amazing, cool things you built together as a means to groom vulnerable young women and take advantage of them. Years of work, and memories, and life goals achieved together tainted forever because one stupid horny fuck couldn't keep his frankly unimpressive dick in his pants. The video with Jack barely able to keep it together fucking hurt to watch, man. It was like seeing your dad cry for the first time. My friend went to school with him. I was at uni in Wales. She said it was well known from late teens that he preferred much younger girls, and he was really creepy in general, but once lost profits hit the big time, nobody cared anymore. Had another friend from home who absolutely worshipped him. She'd been to loads of gigs, meet and greets, got all the band merch etc. It absolutely tore her apart when it all came out, one of those childhood destroyed moments I think. I just had a baby last year, and I feel this. Those late night beam into your brain worst case scenario thoughts are rough, super rough, but I learned to deal with it by thinking maybe it'll help. The way I rationalize the bad things I see is that now I see them, I know what to look for, I can figure out if something is wrong, and I reason with myself that all of those horrific things that I'm so scared will happen to my baby are things that I'm now looking out for. I have the upper hand on the monsters because I'm looking for them. This anxiety makes my tiny human, and other tiny humans, safer. And then I take some deep breaths, look over at the baby monitor, and remind myself that he's asleep, he's okay, and I'm a good mom. I hope you also find a way of handling the postpartum anxiety, because it took me 10 months to get here with constant therapy, and man, it's rough. Maria Lopez: I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu and there is a move called knee on belly which is exactly what it sounds like. Typically when you're training, you don't go full force because it's an asshole move, especially when you're training. Well, Maria was at my gym one day and he decided to go full force on me, and I heard some snap, crackle and pop sounds coming from my ribs, which led to my rolling around on the floor for a bit. He never checked on me or apologized for doing that. It takes a special kind of human to lack that much empathy to completely ignore someone writhing in pain that you clearly inflicted. Ever since then I can physically feel my blood pressure rise whenever I see Extra or Access Hollywood or whatever crappy show he hosts. Maria Lopez used to be a customer at the Blockbuster video I managed back in the day. He was always rude to my associates, and expected us to hold all of the new movies for him, just in case he came in. His account had been registered under the name Maria Lopez, so, with the full permission of my bosses, who were as tired of his shit as I was, he complained to my district manager every time he felt disrespected. And he felt disrespected a lot. I closed his account for using improper identification. His justification: I'm a celebrity. No one needs to know my information. My response: A. No one cares. B. Who are you again? His blow-up was absolutely epic. I never saw him again, though. Jennifer Lopez: many years ago, a friend of mine in Houston waited on her and her entourage at a very nice restaurant. She demanded that the place's very starstruck manager go to the store and get the kind of bottled water she liked, because she wasn't doing that tap bullshit and they didn't carry the kind she liked. She and her people needled the hell out of my friend until the manager got back from the store with it, and then complained when it wasn't served cold, even though he of course brought glasses of ice with it. She ran my friend ragged, and laughed the whole time, bitched and called him names at every opportunity. We were both servers at that point, and I'd gone to his restaurant and asked for him at times. Hey, if you're gonna tip someone, might as well keep it in the family. So I know he was damned good at what he did. I saw how he treated all his tables. He loved his job and did his best at all times. She and her friends stiffed him. 0 tip. After camping out at that table, in that private room that was given just to her and nobody else, for 3 hours, just because she could. I never liked her after that. I'm just Jenny from the block, my ass. I've heard several stories about her with bottled water. My dad was a pilot and flew with a guy that used to fly private charters. He said she was the worst celebrity they ever had. Got on the plane and started throwing all the bottled water off the beverage cart onto the ramp because it wasn't a brand she liked, which means the ground is full of foreign object debris, and you can't start up the engines. She then started to complain that the plane wasn't moving, to which the captain had to say, "Ma'am, we have to wait for someone to come and pick up the water." Oh, here's a recent one. I just lost my respect for a celebrity the past few weeks. Chris Wu. As someone who really admired his English and Mandarin music, plus the acting roles he's been in, I always saw him as a strong and brave person for the stuff he went through. He used to be in a pop group, for instance, and from what we know, not only was he discriminated against and paid less for being Chinese, but it was once leaked that he was suffering myocarditis, basically implying he could have a heart attack anytime. The company didn't care and he left, which I thought was good for his health despite the hate he got. Now, recently, it's been revealed that he's been drugging and raping many underage girls, including one at the age of 13. China has deleted many of his public accounts and he is now in custody. He is such a vile, disgusting person and I am so ashamed to have looked up to him. I hope the victims get the care and peace they need, and I hope justice is served. Didn't expect to see Chris Wu here, but it absolutely fits. Never got into X much, but did see SM Town in 2012 and EXO had their first North American performance there, and Chris was involved in a performance with Amber Liu, and he walked down the stairs right where I was sitting and the guy looked like he was on the top of the world. To see him now is just astounding. Even people I'm still friends with who are no longer really into K-pop that much found out about it and are keeping up with the story. There's a chance he could get the death penalty for his crimes in China. James Corden. I used to think his self-deprecating style and his ingenuity with comedy and the carpool karaoke idea were great. Then I saw story after story from fan encounters where he is a complete and utter douche. Now that I know he's a fake, his shtick is unwatchable. Edit, as one responder pointed out, I forgot about the time he played the question game with Jimmy Kimmel and couldn't name two of his own cameramen. Edit 2. Apparently, carpool karaoke was ripped off from somewhere else, and he's not even really driving. So he's gone from douche to hack fake douche, lol. Edit 2.1, as some users have pointed out, it's safer to film with the driving rig, so I won't hold that against him. He's back to just a hack douche. I'm not big on real celebs, but I've seen some people say internet celebrities, so for me it was Ryan Haywood from Achievement Hunter. I thought he was a really funny guy and was just the do-it-all dad guy who had a morbid sense of humor and drank Diet Coke. Finding out he was taking advantage of his fans, some underage, and using money donated to him on stream meant for his kids' college fund to meet up with some of those girls and cheat on his wife was just terrible. I feel so bad for his victims and the people who thought they knew him. I saw Mitch 3 months before he passed. One of the funniest performances I've ever seen. The PA system in the right side of the balcony flaked out and people started yelling, "We can't hear you, Mitch. You can't hear me." Crowd, "No, Mitch. You fucking liars." He then spent about 30 minutes riffing about random shit, none of his real material. At one point he was laying down on the stage looking up at the stage lights. He says something like, "Sometimes I wish these lights were my audience." Wait, no don't. They would never laugh. As somebody who had heard most of his material, this break from the norm was really cool and hilarious insight to his thought process for building jokes. Yeah, he also doesn't think that men can be abused in a relationship. He once told an abused male guest that if his girlfriend was beating him that he was supposed to either take it or walk away. He almost told the same guest that he must have been the one starting the abuse because there was no way his petite frail girlfriend could hit him hard enough to be abusing him even though there were pictures of him with injuries from her. When the guy got tired of being mocked by Dr. Phil and laughed at by the audience, he tried to leave midway through the show and Dr. Phil threatened to put him in jail because the abusive girlfriend had proof of the boyfriend's temper. It was pictures of a broken thermostat and a couple other items that could have been either broken by her or already broken when they arrived. I grew up watching him and was heartbreaking when I recently watched more and realized how cringy and sad it was. He wasn't trying to calm guests down and mend bridges, he was actively edging people on and in my opinion, gaslighting some. I watched the Out of Control teen episodes and even if we assume everything is truthful, then yes, the teens need help, but so do the parents in a big way. Dr. Phil just wants more bodies for his rehabilitation camps though, and don't get me started on those camps. They're a whole other kettle of rotten fish. I've never liked Ellen and I could never really put into words why I wasn't a fan, and everyone in my wider group of friends thought that I was a moron for not liking her. The way she carried herself, talking over the people that she interviewed, her sense of humor, everything just didn't jive with me. Then it came to light that she was a narcissistic piece of shit and an awful boss. Coupled with her shit apology that Tuesday I'm doing this for the PR, I don't actually feel bad, and I felt so vindicated. It was actually brought up at a get-together some time ago how they thought that I just didn't like her for made-up reasons but they had come to agree with me. Feels nice to hate as a group, you know, to feel accepted. So 3 years ago I went on a tour of WB Studio Lot. Our guide said she had a treat for us. We were going to visit the Ellen Show's set, but we had to be quick. because Ellen gets really upset with the guides if they're there when she's there. At the time I was like, nah, not Ellen. You're just saying that to make us feel that the experience was something super special, privileged that you were doing for us. Not Ellen, benevolent every person who became a millionaire. She would be super stoked to see fans, not that I was a fan myself, but you couldn't really escape Ellen in 2018, even if you tried. Later on, when all news broke about how abusive she was towards staff in general, I thought of her absolutely reaming out guides for just trying to brighten fans' day. And was like, oh, this tracks. Fun fact. My dad used to work for Trek Bicycles. They're one of the biggest bike manufacturers in the world and the former sponsor of Lance Armstrong. One day Lance comes to the headquarters to give a speech to the people who do the dirty work, in a manner of speaking. My dad was told by one of his bosses that Lance requested that no one who worked there go near him, ask him direct questions, ask for autographs, take photos. Basically breathe the same air as him. My dad from there on out hated the man, and I completely understand. My dad also believes when in 1999 when Lance was first caught doping that Trek helped cover it up. By the way, for a good story about a cyclist, Greg Lehman is super cool according to my dad, and he's done a lot of advocacy for anti-doping. I was a 90s teen who would listen to Marilyn Manson literally every single day, and I honestly thought his most recent album was some of his best stuff to date. But since the recent allegations against him turned out to be credible, no more. While that music and aesthetic was a formative part of my life growing up and partly made me the person I am today, no more. I am done. Skinny Puppy is a better band, anyway. Gandhi. People act like he was a perfect saint who fixed the world and is the model of how every person should act, when in reality he wasn't. He a racist and wrote that Europeans were civilized while African people were uncivilized and very dirty. There was the infamous story where he slept naked next to other naked girls to test his celibacy. But the girl he slept naked next to was his grandniece. She was underage and he was in his 70s. https://www.npr.org/2019/02/766083651/Gandhi is deeply revered, but his attitudes on race and sex are under scrutiny. Oh, and my favorite. When his wife Kasturba caught pneumonia and doctors told him she could be saved if they gave her penicillin, Gandhi refused and said that he wouldn't allow an alien medicine to be injected in her because of his beliefs, and so she died. That would be understandable and respectable if it was truly because of his beliefs. But he's a huge fucking hypocrite because shortly after she died he got malaria and allowed doctors to treat him with injected medicine, and then he had an appendectomy. https://www.thecrimson.com/article/1983/3/7/The Truth About Gandhi movie/. I get it. The guy was human with human hang-ups and flaws. But I'm tired of him being put up on a pedestal as a perfect being who never did anything wrong and that everyone should be just like. Plus it's hard to idolize or strive to be like someone who let his own wife die a completely preventable death and then disowned his oldest son for wanting to get married. Bald and bankrupt. When I discovered his channel I couldn't stop watching his videos. He always came across as caring and genuine guy and always made seemingly boring things exciting. He recently took hiatus from his YouTube channel, so I went to see if he had a subreddit which could provide an insight to his absence. Instead I came across Bald and Balder dossier, which basically exposes Bald and bankrupt for being a sex predator who only visits the former Soviet states for, in his words, easy sex. Also he would have been put away for gang rape had the victim not been too scared to testify. So overall who was a great liber is now a massive piece of shit in my eyes. Conor McGregor. His story of almost quitting MMA and being a plumber like his dad, to then getting a chance in the UFC and going on a tear all the way to getting 2 titles was very inspiring. He was always shit-talking, but at times it seemed he was just doing it for entertainment. After his success, and a few incidents and rumors like cheating on his GF, raping a woman, punching an old guy in a bar, throwing a chair on a bus and just constantly bragging about money. I realize the guy is just a major dick. Same here times a million. I've said it in the Manson sub several times now and get hated on, but I was a hardcore Mansonite most of my life. Since like 95, I've met him once, and the last time I saw them he tried pulling me on stage because he recognized my Spooky Kids shirt that Twiggy had pointed out to him. Manson memorabilia is the only thing I have ever collected, and I've spent thousands and have a ton of really old signed stuff. The majority of my wardrobe, still, is Manson shirts, amongst many others. He was just my thing. That's all over now. I don't listen to him. I don't wear his shirts, and I'm just moving on now. It's made getting older an even more bitter time for me than it probably should be. All your heroes end up scumbags or dead. What you thought mattered doesn't, and he's just not the person he was. I can't do it anymore. It fucking sucks, and I hate it. But I also won't lie to myself or subvert my own morality.